Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Amorin nolle sä ammuit mun peffaan. Enää halu viedä sua pelkästään leffaan. Rakkauden haukat meille taivaalla kirkuu. Mun päästä putoruit lanteet seksiä tihkuu. Seksiä tihkuu. Saivat mun tuohi sydämään pensalla kastoisen. Sä lykiroit hahtaa tervas kantona tuhkats palaa. Kuin sata kipinää. Rälläkää mun rakkauden sulle suihkua.
Noniin. Joo. Kaikki mukaan.
Se on laaki ja väänä kun runtataan. Poika sinne pesään kasvamaan. Ja rakkauden maito kermaksi vatkataan. Vatkataan. Sä veit mun tuohi sydämen pensalla kastoisen. Sä likin roihahtaa tervas kantona tukkaks palaa. Kuin sata kipinää. Rälläkää mun rakkauden sulle suihkua. Saatat mun tuohi sydämään pensalla kastoisen. Sä likin roihahtaa tervas kantona tuhkats palaa. Kuin sata kipinää. Rälläkää mun rakkauden sulle suihkua. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää.
Täällä Seppo Kävyntähkä. Luonto kutsuu radio-ohjelmasta. Olen nyt aidossa Lapin erämaassa.
Discovery, go at throttle up. Summer. I. Summer. Alright, dudes. Sorry, I had to finish typing something up. Let's get rolling. The Stormworks Discord is fire right now. I'm sure the devs will address the issue. So, alright, dudes. Enough people showed me Stormworks, and
Go and throttle up.
I kind of, my rule is always if enough people bug me about it, say, oh, you got to play this. All right, we'll give it a shot. Now, to be fair, I haven't played Stormworks in a long time, but apparently the Stormworks update that came out today, that came with the DLC, I mean, I've seen several people in chat already say it, that broke a lot of stuff. So, oh, hang on, I got a reply. Yeah, give me 1 second. So, yeah, we'll fire up Stormworks. I'm actually installing it right now. But I got all the DLCs. I haven't played the game since any of the DLCs came out. I've only played the stock game from, like, a long time ago. So I bought all the DLCs because I like space, and I like all the other stuff that I saw with the DLCs. They were only $10 a pop. And Stormworks is a good game. We already know that. So, yeah. Vote with your wallet. So, we'll be playing here shortly. I just got to write this back. Yeah, cool. You're playing from scratch, not loading saves. Yeah, exactly. I'm not. It shouldn't be affected at all, dudes. Yeah, yeah. So let's. Sorry, I'm. If you guys really want to know, I'm talking to David Willis. You guys know him. We're talking about that OIG report that came out today, dude. I'm not too pleased with what I saw there, but it's just me. Yeah, I'm talking with David about SLS. We did see some Universal Stage Adapter action today. Should mention Direct. Why? Does he not like Direct? Freaking cherry blue Switch users. Serious? You were probably in kindergarten when I bought this keyboard. Seriously, I bought this keyboard in 2011. What were you doing in 2011? You were in secondary school or primary school, whatever the heck you call it over there. Actually, my streaming rig is 12 years old at this time. It's a DOS keyboard professional, and it's never, ever let me down because it's based off of a Model M. It's literally an updated Model M. That's what it is. That was like, Ewok, that was like probably a year ago, something like that. DOS keyboard? DOS? What do you mean DOS? Like DOS? No, DAS. DOS keyboard. Like DOS, like my buddy DOS. DOS keyboard. My Razor Death Adder is nearly 11 years old. Nice. Someone should get you the Model M recreation that uses the original buckling spring key switches. Why? I have a Model M about 20 feet away from me, dudes. Yeah. I have a Model M attached to the auto computer. It's a little dirty, but I found it in a dumpster, so it's kind of... But it's a Model M. There could be a nuclear blast that goes off and that keyboard will still work. Hey, Twisted, so... Yeah, before we get into that, dudes, two things I wanted to show you. So, David and I were talking about the OIG report that came out for SLS today. There's another OIG, another Office of Investigator General that came out that says SLS is unsustainable based off of literally nothing, no arbitrary call. Yeah, here, I wanted to show you guys this. Give me one moment. Yeah. So, the Office of Investigator General with NASA came out and basically said that SLS is unsustainable again. Based off of their feelings, for the most part, from what I can tell. My beautiful boat. Dude, it's like super frustrating. Super, super frustrating. Let me see. Let me see it real quick. Then we'll get into Stormworks. We'll make SLS and Stormworks just to spite them. Explorations. After reassessing NASA's planned strategy to shift SLS production, system integration, and launch services to DST under a services rather than the current sole source contract structure, the Exploration Systems Development Mission Directorate added 3 years to the timeline for transitioning these responsibilities and consolidating existing SLS contracts under DST. I just need a definition for DST just to make sure I know what it is. Deep Space Transport LLC. Okay. During this 3-year evaluation and readiness period, NASA will continue to manage the individual SLS contracts until DST is fully ready to assume that role. NASA basically contracted Deep Space Transport to commercialize SLS systems and integration. So the systems integration, so basically DST LLC will be building SLSs in the future instead of NASA building them in-house. It is the company that was founded to basically make SLS cores. What we recommend to improve the sustainability of the SLS system, the Space Launch System. The space, really? As the EPOC strategy is finalized, we recommend that the Associate Administrator for Exploration Systems Development Mission Directorate, that's Jim Free, establish achievable cost-saving metrics beginning with SLS Artemis 4 elements and production contracts.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hoagie gifted a sub to Luizo. In Syrian with the 103-month system resub. Thank you for your Twitch Prime Tier 1 sub. SMH my head, NASA. Transition the core stage and exploration upper stage contracts to fixed price with a per mission price to codify actual costs. Am I stupid? Did I... Please tell me that I'm reading this wrong. Please tell me I am stupid. I'm actually asking you. Because To improve the sustainability of SLS. They say it's unsustainable due to cost, and then precisely here in part 2, transition the core stage and exploration upper stage contracts to fixed price with a per mission price to codify actual costs. They admit that they don't know how much it costs. How... How can you say it's unsustainable if you don't know how much it costs? How... Am I missing something? Shit. I gotta read this. Okay, I have homework. I have to read this. That makes no sense. That makes 0 sense. It must be contextual because I'm missing something completely. They how can... Okay, let me try to explain this in plain English as I understand it. Once again, I could be missing context here because I just read the first couple of paragraphs. That's probably the case here, so I'm not trying to freak out. They basically said in plain English that SLS is too expensive. It's too expensive. Even with contracted services through a company which is designed to make it less expensive, it's still too expensive. What we recommend is actually codifying how much everything costs and coming up with a per unit price so we can figure out how expensive it actually is. That's what they just said. I must be missing context. I must be missing context, dude. There's no... I sometimes when I'm on stream, like when you're streaming, you have a like debuff to intelligence that happens sometimes. Like that's why like a lot of streamers and YouTubers try to do math in the middle of a stream or a YouTube video and they fail miserably at it. You have like a debuff to intelligence. Maybe I missed context here, but I'm like... Jazzo's 43-month resub with 43% throttle. It sounded to me that they want to go fixed price and set those prices in stone. But how can they, John, how can they do that in the same... How can they in the same breath say that it's too expensive when they don't know how expensive it is? Have you ever heard spoons theory? When you're streaming, you're low on spoons. There is no spoon. Basically, they're leaking money and trying to figure out where and why. Well, has anybody at this Office of Investigator General ever read a systems engineering handbook? Because I'm pretty sure they haven't. This is what happens. You can't call for fixed pricing when the vehicle is still in development. That makes no sense. You can't say we need to spend less money when we're developing a vehicle. That's the reason why we got SLS in the first place. I don't know how much it costs to remove a dead crew. Just get an exterminator, though. It shouldn't be too hard. Brain budget insufficient for math on stream. Dude, Gueron, it's a thing. Sometimes, dude, I can sit here and I can just drone off numbers, no problem. Other times, like, I'll sit here and I'll think about it and my math comprehension goes to like the 3rd grade. It happens, dude. It's very strange. So, Hokie, what I'm trying to say is like, Hokie, you would know this, right? When you're in development, yeah, you should have some cost control mechanisms, but cost control mechanisms in development is just going to hinder development, and it's just going to take longer because you're trying to work on a fixed price thing. Right, my running example of this is Starliner. Look at how much of a fiasco Starliner is compared to Dragon. I mean, Boeing does take... It's going to take time because I still will maintain to this day that Boeing has never made a spacecraft before. This is literally their first time doing it. Just because you have all the technical documents of every single crewed spacecraft in your intellectual property folder doesn't mean you know how to make a spacecraft. I have the blueprints to the LC-34 mobile service tower. You don't see me going and trying to make one. Even if I had, okay, if I had the money, I would probably do it. But I wouldn't try to do it myself. I would hire somebody that knows what they're doing to do it. Right? I don't understand how you can... The vehicle's technically still in development because you have Block 1B and Block 2. So switching to a firm fixed price makes no sense because Starliner was on a firm fixed price contract for missions and they ran into development problems. Right? They ran into development problems. And now it's way behind schedule because Boeing has had to foot a lot of money out of their own pocket, as they should, because that's the contract, that was the terms of agreement. But this is where cost plus really comes into play. If OIG wants NASA to go off cost plus and go to operations, well then you stop development. You don't do both of those at the same time. You know why? Because you can't. You'll hemorrhage even more money, which is literally why we have SLS in the first place and why SLS has ended up carrying a higher price tag. I mean, personally, I still think the price tag for SLS is actually pretty damn good because I think if you compare it to the Saturn program, you compare it to the only other rocket that's even remotely comparable to SLS is Saturn. And if you compare it to the Saturn V, it is a steal. It's being developed for maybe an eighth of the cost, a quarter of the cost maybe, even adjusted for inflation, which is, There's a hybrid system. Well, if they want to roll over into fixed pricing, that's fine. But rolling over into fixed pricing means you're in the operational phase, which means you've stopped development. If they wanted to do that post-Artemis 4, I don't have a problem with that. If that's what they're saying. And that's the context that I could be missing here. Because they did talk about the exploration upper stage. If they want to do that, that's fine. I understand that. That makes perfect sense. But to sit here and say that they need to put cost prohibitive, they need to control a vehicle in development is really stupid, especially since NASA's using waterfall testing. Controlling it is not. I mean, well, not waterfall testing. I mean, it would be better for Agile, I suppose, but it doesn't matter. The point is that if we tried to do this, like let's say we had an investigator general and a government accountability thing during the Apollo program, we'd still be trying to get to the moon. If we controlled the SLS program, or if we controlled Apollo like the controlling is being done for SLS, we would never have gotten to the moon. Not even close. We'd still be trying. Yeah, exactly, you are. Stupid! Precisely, Helzikin. Yeah. Granted, if anything from my work has taught me anything, procurement doesn't often understand what they're buying. So we've had things put into inventory management that shouldn't have, and the things that should have missed it. Oh my gosh. It's frustrating, dude. It's frustrating. I didn't mean to get in here and be like, what the frick? And ruin people's days. Like, it's just, what? What? We'll talk about this more during Space News. Also, take a look. Speaking of SLS Block 1, Dynetics posted this. Not Dynetics, that's different. Dynetics, a Leidos company, posted this. That's SLS Block 1B, the Universal Stage Adapter. And it looks like it's... Actually, that's a pretty high level of development, considering they have instrumentation attached to it now. That is the 8.4 meter fairing for SLS Block 1B. If we go over here and we go over to David, actually has a good picture. Is today the first day of Stormworks Space? It literally just came out an hour ago, stream chat. See this fairing right here that connects the Orion staging adapter to the exploration upper stage? That's what that is. And it's freaking huge, by the way. I still believe the statement unknown unknowns is applicable to what's going on with the AIG report and why they're a little scared of some of the budget size of things, especially if we're going along the Block 1, Block 2, etc. upgrade path. Well, if that's the case, Hokie, then all the development... trying to...
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Dude, here's my problem. I don't mind SLS Block 2. I think Block 2 is cool. But I think that us pursuing Block 2 right now is really stupid. That's really stupid. I think we should freeze the design with Block 1B and then do incremental upgrades from there. And the development program should take that into account. We should block buy 1B rockets launching 2 to 4 times a year for the next 20 years. So let's say... Okay, let's even slow it down. Let's say 10 years. So 2 to 4 rockets every year for the next 10 years. Let's just say 4 rockets for the next 10 years, right? They need to block buy and they need to freeze it at 1B. And then through flight testing, do the upgrades that way. And roll out small iterative changes over time. Basically like Falcon 9. Falcon 9 had 1.0, right? And they did a couple of launches with 1.0. And then they switched to 1.1. And all subsequent architecture is based off of 1.1. So, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 full thrust, and then Block 5. And Block 5 even has trajectory optimizations and small thermal upgrades and improvements all over the place. That's how this needs to be done. I guarantee you want to control it, you want to make the cost go down, freeze it at Block 1B, block by the rocket. Costs will go down. Absolutely. What about the cargo SLS versions? You'd need to develop another fairing, Helzekin, but yeah, we could do it. Sure, why not? I mean, I contend to say that SLS with no EUS and just a huge fairing up here would probably be a really good low Earth orbit access vehicle. That'd be great for a Skylab mission. Just saying. Be great for a Skylab replacement. I guess what I'm getting so bummed out about is that this thing sucks. This thing's a piece of junk. It's not a piece of junk. It's not a piece of junk. It's going to bring people back to the moon. It's cool. But this is taking... Like, from here down, it's really, really good. From here down, this is excellent. It's just from that checker mark up, this thing sucks. What are you going to do with it aside from just send an Orion capsule out around the moon? That's all it does. A Saturn V could do that out of the gates with no lander. What I'm trying to tell you is that we should have never implemented a different upper stage as a cost-saving increment. Once again, controlling development like that is really stupid. That's really stupid. And it's really stupid because of the unknown unknowns that you were talking about, Hoki. That's really dumb. Like that... It's aggravating because I'm not an expert systems engineer, but I'm dangerous enough to know that this is breaking a lot of those rules. We should have just designed this from the start. An astronaut should be launching on this and then develop the lander after. You know what? Screw it. I know that this wasn't sustainable 10 years ago to do. We didn't have the political will nor anything to get it done, right? But we should have designed the lander to go with it. And Gateway should have been developed out of the box. Yes, that's going to cost more money 10 years ago, but it's going to cost way less money right now. Not constantly costing a lot of money like what SLS is doing. Like, okay. Also insanely stupid because now you have to pay for 2 testing regimes and they won't even be used for very long. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I've never seen another rocket do something like that, Hellfish. I would honestly rather Block 1B have launched with a dud. Block 1, Artemis 1, launch with a dud. With just a hollowed out EUS. And have this thing basically a mass simulator, right? And have it basically do what Artemis 2 is going to do. And have the core stage boosted into high orbit and then use the service module to get out to the moon. But we wanted to, with Block 1, we wanted to test DRO. We wanted to test leaving Orion out there for a long period of time, which I guess I understand, but there's no reason you couldn't have done that. There's no reason you couldn't have done that with the Artemis 2 mission profile. But once again, like, what do I know, dude? I'm just a Twitch streamer. Anyway, there's the USA. It's awesome. It should have been developed 10 years ago. In my opinion, that's what the 2014 Orion test should have been. Agreed. I mean, yeah. Agreed, dude. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm freaking... It seems like the OIG is basically calling on me to do exactly what they're basically calling to do exactly what I think they should do, like what I'm saying. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that if the project was implemented correctly from the start, you wouldn't need this. But flip side of that, managing a project this large is very hard to do, especially when you change the upper management every 4 to 8 years. I get it. Bites tongue about bean counters. I will say this once, I'll say it again, Hellfish. You cannot control something that's in development. You can come up with cost projections, and I don't have a problem with that. Cost projections are fine. But you can't say, this vehicle is going to cost this much, and that's unsustainable. How the hell do you know? It hasn't launched yet. It's not even finished being developed. How do you know? What can you compare it to? Apollo? Well, guess what? Apollo, per this same measurement of, like, accounting and controlling stuff, would look like a fiasco compared to SLS. But that's also a successful program. They didn't really figure in the cost for Apollo until well after the program ended. That's where we got the unit price for the Saturn V. It's when after the development. See what I mean? It's stupid. Anyway, Stormworks is done downloading. We could talk more about that later. Or I kind of said my piece. Maybe I'll just roll with it. Hey, Antares, you changed my mind. We'll give her a shot today. Let me go into the settings. Do we have audio here? Oh, jeez. I need to set it to borderless. Give me 1 second. There we go. Now I can go off the screen. Switch to side.